And on.
Good morning. Let's do a sound and the video check and see if we can see if people can hear us and see us. If we can get some thumbs up on the stream and in chat. So let's get a YouTube stream link as well posted to the Discord. And also let's see if we can get some announcements put out over social media too. Okay, I see we're live on YouTube. And yep, I can hear myself talking. That's a pretty short stream delay. Usually it seems to be in about 5 seconds. All right. So welcome to Pirate Congress 2026. Thank you everyone for coming on. Let's have a look at the agenda. Everyone's year has been going well so far. Right, unless my times... Oh, no, we're good on the agenda. Okay. I have it open here. The first item is housekeeping. Traditionally, this will be looking at the venue-specific details, such as the fire exit or so on, location of the toilets, and basic amenities, things like that. But as we've been online for the last few years, there's less to do here. So I guess it's worth putting in a little note about how to participate. There'll be more information on that later in the Congress, but if you're new or just tuning in, then we want to try and keep this participatory and leaning towards informal. So please put in chat comments or questions or suggestions. And traditionally, we like to have a bit of back and forth and discussion on various issues and see how we go there. My name is Miles Whittaker. I'm the outgoing president for the Pirate Party. Many of us are coming on to this conference from Australia, from land that was not ceded by traditional owners. I'm not in Australia. I'm in Vietnam at the moment, potentially going to Europe soon and see how it goes. So I am not on stolen land, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably debatable, but who knows? It's an open question, a historical question. Anywho, the first item on the agenda is the adoption of the standing orders. So in a moment, I'll call for a vote for us to do those, but I'll briefly, I'll pull them open first, and then we'll get a link shared in chat so everyone has some visibility over those. Maybe we can get them, actually, they're a bit long to put up on the screen share. So I'll just put a link in chat for people to read. The standing orders are basically how we conduct ourselves during the meeting. We collectively agree to follow these rules. The short version is that you can, all participants, that is all party members, can put forward a comment or question to formally participate, and they can also put forward a motion to make a formal decision. The Congress is functionally the general meeting of the party, the annual general meeting, so it's the highest decision-making body for us as an organization. Essentially, at this point, you would put forward what's called a floor motion, or motion from the floor, and you can also put forward procedural motions. I will be chairing Yeah, that's the important part. We've sometimes made tweaks to these in previous years. We updated the standing orders so that nominations for electoral positions have to be in by the second day of Congress. That's tomorrow morning. So we may choose to amend that or not. Either way, the nominations we'll deal with tomorrow for elections. So I'll start a motion now. I move to accept the standing orders. All in favour say aye. So Alex has suggested we could do the entire agenda today. Yeah, strictly speaking, we should leave nominations to tomorrow. So that's oh wait, no.
The agenda and the standing orders might the agenda and the standing orders may be in conflict. Is all.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. Because the agenda is exactly
1 day.
The agenda has been reduced to the agenda has been reduced to keep it to 1 day unless we needed to go over, which puts so I don't think we need the traditional amendment to the standing orders.
We could just say assume day 2.
Yeah, no, but we would need to amend the standing orders because it specifies the second day, so we would need to amend them.
No, understand.
Nominations for elected positions must be made
I see, yes.
on the second day. Nominees will be given an opportunity to present on the second day.
Yeah, sure.
I guess it's not in conflict to run in 1 day, but it is, I guess, a little misleading.
Yeah. John makes a good point. We can adopt them and then amend them.
Yeah. Okay, let's close voting. Motion passes. Does anyone have an updated wording for the standing orders?
The motion would simply be to suspend suspend that part of the standing orders, which would conflict with I'll write it out.
Can we not to amend them, just to modify them, can't we?
Modify is amend. I thought modify was amend.
Yes, yeah. Alex was saying suspend.
Yeah.
I'll
I think we can just
to suspend 1.2.2.
Oh yeah, suspend that specific section. Not the whole thing. That makes sense.
There we go.
We do need to, we will need to amend it for any future, like get a long-term fix on the assumption that we run 1 day Congress in future.
Yes.
Wouldn't the simple wording be?
Our traditional amendment to this agenda item is that we suspend such part of the standing orders to allow nominations from the floor at the start of the relevant item.
I'm just writing something up. Okay. I've put a competing motion text in chat. Alex, do you have a preference for suspending or amending?
I'll withdraw.
Okay, thanks. All right, any comments on that wording? And this will be a long-term fix. Okay, looks like no comments. Place your votes in chat, folks.
We'll give it the traditional 3 minutes.
Oh, I was about to end it.
Okay.
Do you want to wait the whole 3 minutes?
I'd like to give it a moment, just for the theoretical possibility of anyone else around to jump on the chat.
This is such a controversial motion.
So controversial, I know. Alrighty. I will. Copy link, paste link. Must be made.
Let's end it here. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. let's move on to the next agenda item, which is the outgoing National Council reports. So I do not have a written report. I wasn't planning to say much. I can upload a text file summary to the wiki or somewhere. Yeah, we didn't do much this last 12 months. I think there was maybe 2 meetings, so we didn't do absolutely nothing. But yeah, it was a very quiet year. I think I have got to the point where I've been doing this for a long time. I first got involved around 2008, I think, before I was registered, before I was old enough to register to vote. So I've been doing this for a while. I've run out of ideas. Not much I've done has had a huge amount of success. We got a few votes. I like to think we shifted the window in Australia slightly. I think my politics haven't changed massively. I think I'm still supportive of Pirate Party politics, but I'm not really motivated to keep campaigning anymore. I could be convinced to come out for the occasional campaign, but that's about it. I'm happy to still stick around and keep doing caretaker stuff. So on that basis, I put in my nomination for president for the next 12 months, but it'll be explicitly as a caretaker role and also to represent the party internationally too. I've traveled and met pirates around the world. Funnily enough, not in Europe, although I've met and worked with a lot of European pirates online. So I think that's worth doing to support the international movement and have that feedback into Australia as well. I'd also be also more or less happy to keep representing Pirate Party politics in Australia. I think I'm a fairly confident advocate for politics and have been over the past 12 months as well. 15 months ago, we had an election. It was our second election with Fusion Party, and that went okay. But I think at the time, we had a lot of candidates that needed a lot of support, and I found myself pulled in 20 different directions while also trying to work full time. And it wasn't particularly functional. I think I was more or less just trying to keep the lights on in a lot of ways because there was just so much that I was trying to do and so much that I was needed to do. So I think Fusion Party will still be around, and I'll be doing approximately the same with them as well, which is switching over to more of a caretaker mode, doing ops work and technical work in the background, maybe coming out to hand out flyers for the odd campaign. Yeah, there is currently a Victorian State Party registration campaign for Fusion Party. That's ticking along. We've got a lot of comms going out and coming in about the from Victorian Party members. So Pirate Party members in Victoria would be following along with that, getting all of the communications. And there is 1 week left on that one. And so if you're in Victoria and you want to support the party and you haven't yet returned your letter, then please do so, or reach in to get some help and support. The Fusion Party Secretary, Ethan Cornwell, is very, very good, very active and quite competent. So I'm pretty excited to work alongside him. Yeah, that's about that. I'm looking forward to, regardless of whatever happens, I think I would always be some kind of digital pirate or political pirate. And even if the party does decide to wind up, there'll be people who consider themselves pirates and remember that and talk about that. I think I'm happy enough with that, having shifted the dialogue and made an effort to represent politics that I think are important. So that's all that I wanted to say. Happy to take comments or questions. There's a comment from John in chat between Fusion and Pirates. I think we overreached the last election. Myself and Miles felt drained at the end of the last election. Yeah, very much so. I don't know if drained was the right word, but burnt out definitely. I went on a month-long trip along the east coast of the US and up to Canada shortly after the election, and also left the job I was working at the time and then started traveling quite a lot since then. So that was very rejuvenating. And also I'm going through a career shift at the moment into AI safety, and also looking at work overseas too. So I think it was a real milestone for me last year, with a lot of change, personal and professional. And that kind of overshadowed the burnout. Any other comments or questions from anyone? Or I will hand over to, sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Alex just wanted to make note that elections are pretty all-consuming if you let them, and to thank you for being it for so many years.
Happy to do my part.
And we thank you for it.
Okay, I'll hand over to the next office holders. So we have outgoing Secretary Alex Jago and outgoing Treasurer John August. Would one of you guys like to speak?
Sure, I'll go. Everyone. So yeah, it's, as Miles notes, it's been a very quiet year. Although I missed some of that because my internet decided today was the day to drop out. Harking back to classic issues in the party around NBN. And so, I guess, you know, the time of National Congress is to look back and look forward. And so, yeah, it's been a very, very quiet year. I think the party is, at least in terms of its current crop of office holders, I think we've done all that we're going to do in terms of where we can take the party. And so the time has come to either step back and hand over, or to wind things down. And it looks like there's no one to hand over to, so that leaves option B. So my recommendation to the next National Council, which is looking pretty similar to in terms of nominations, looking pretty similar to the current National Council, is that we don't need to dissolve, but that we do need to disincorporate. And so this will allow us to remain as an interest group within Fusion, and we can adopt a more flexible member model at that point. Yeah, this pretty much concludes the report. Very little happened, so there's very little to report on.
Thanks, Alex.
And beyond that, yeah, I'd like to just thank everybody for all the time and energy and effort that they've put in over the years, as they have been able to.
Okay, well, I might stick my oar in. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't that well organised, so I didn't didn't really prepare a treasurer's report, and perhaps I'll sort of do something similar to what I did last year. But anyway, to talk about the bank accounts, our check account as we speak has got $444.08. Our ANZ online saver $1,087.99, and ANZ Business Essentials $152.38. So between them, what I think that's a bit shy of $2,000, a bit less than last year. So in some ways, we could say, well, hey, we've slipped a bit, but we're not going backwards. And with that money, I guess we can keep the lights on for a bit. And it's going to be hard to really do much in the way of an election campaign with that amount of money. But certainly I've noticed that members are continuing to donate to the party. That is motivating. I think we've got very few people turning up to this particular meeting online and around the world, but people are still giving money. So at some level, people I think are relating to the pirate cause and the pirate issue. I recognise that. I guess now I'm speaking less as treasurer and more as a committee member. That yes, we've run out of energy in the current committee to really move forward and do stuff. And I know Miles has put in a great deal of energy over the years. And at the moment, we sort of don't really have much in the way of options. But I do recall, Simon, if you don't mind me sort of talking about you, hopefully this will not cause conflict or whatever. But I know you had a plan for moving the party towards more of an advocacy group. And so the direction that we're headed, that Alex is suggesting that we continue to be a part of Fusion, but less of a formalised party, more of sort of a more of a group rather than our own real identity. Well, maybe that is a good compromise. Again, I'm speaking from personal experience. I think that if the last election campaign had not been so stressful, I think I would have said, well, I did something. I put I put myself forward. I made a difference. I got a bit of coverage in my local area. The problem is that I guess running for election is a very expensive hobby, and there have been some administrative issues with Fusion where even though I think I managed to get $500 or $600 of donations, I haven't actually received that money yet. So quite apart from the frustrations of the election, and in one sense, look, if I didn't get any donations, well, I could have kissed that $500 or $600 goodbye and would have just moved on. But the fact that I've had that experience has been frustrating and has added to others. Having said that, Owen has poured in tens of thousands of dollars into his campaign, so it's sort of more a case of not so much the total amount of money, but the context in which this money is floating around. But I suppose that direction we're headed, I'm saddened that we don't have so much energy to maintain a full-on party structure, but we do seem to have that energy around the pirate issue, and I hope that continues in some way, shape, or form. Also, speaking personally, I'll say I'm back on community radio and Ryde Regional Radio, and am certainly keen to pursue issues further. Now, I would say in collaboration with Owen, we have been pushing on issues of ICAC and transparency and so on, and I've continued to do that in collaboration with Owen, and I think that's hopefully been rewarding for both of us, and hopefully made a good change and maybe increasing the profile of at least the Fusion and maybe even Pirates as well. So yeah, but oh yes, another thing I should mention, between myself and Alex, we have been trying to rationalize our websites. I should point out I've sort of inherited a hosting provider which is called Blind Dog Hosting. Now, maybe it would be a conflict of interest for me to get too involved in the pirate hosting, and any votes I would have to sort of abstain on. But there may be an option of sort of my involvement in a sort of a what is it, hands distance sort of way, or hands off sort of approach, where I realise there's can be a conflict of interest, but if I do something there, maybe we can be transparent about it. Anyway, look, I'll leave my report at that. I've strayed away from the Treasurer's report into more general matters. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue because I'm sure there's going to be a chance for everybody to say their piece at this meeting anyway. Anyway, I will leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Okay, thanks, John. So, just going back to what Alex said about disincorporating, there would be a few, there'd be a few steps we need to do for that. I think it'd be, we need to look at the procedure. To have a bank account, we may need to be incorporated. Otherwise, it would have to sit under an individual, I think. So we need to look at that. But actually, taking us off the Incorp register is pretty easy and fast, and they don't really. There's minimal involved in enforcement for that anyway. Go ahead, Simon.
Hey everyone. So I'm not on the existing National Council at the moment. In my past year, the last Congress there was meant to be a vote which got delayed, and then it happened, and I ultimately lost. And so I've pretty much at this time last year, I could see that there was some the party was pretty much going in this direction of winding down into nothing, which is very sad, because I think it's been about 2016 or around that time that I've been involved, and at the time that I started, Pirate Party was very much at the forefront, ahead of the curve, predicting things before they even became an issue. Like, for example, topics like universal basic income, where what if the robots take our job? Well, now AI is taking the job. A lot of things have come true, and now we're not even keeping up, let alone even functioning as a party, where nothing is really happening. So I flagged this, and I presented an alternate vision at the time, where we could just come back to our competencies of just sticking to advocacy rather than trying to be a party when Fusion's already feeling that need of pirate politics as a party. And look, I think the party decided there was the voting, and I was unsuccessful when that voting did eventually happen. So and some other people thought it would be best if I just sit back and not get in the way. So I've stayed back. I haven't interfered or done anything. So I wasn't prepared to, like, this is all fresh to me. What Miles is saying is, thanks Miles for your contributions, and that it's like, I could see it's obviously been very tough on you. So that took me for a bit of, it's surprised me a bit that things have got this far, but I'm more interested in the future rather than the past. And it's, I don't like this talk of winding down the party. It is like many of us, it's Pirate Party is very much part of us. Like, no matter what happens, being a pirate is pretty much in our hearts. No matter where we end up, we do all fundamentally believe in the cause. And if it's agreeable to others, I would be happy to step up to take the Pirate Party into the next phase, but only if it's agreeable, and it's not going to be, I'm not going to be, I don't know, opposed into saying, oh no, you can't touch this. This is, we don't want you to do this. So if I'm wanted, I'm happy to contribute to try and rejuvenate the party or reboot the party into the next iteration. But if that's not what the party wants, then I'm happy to let the party do what it's going to do.
Thanks, Simon. Go ahead, Bryn.
Then Simon, put your name up, and again, as I think you've kind of implied, and we'll see what the voting says.
Well, there's a side issue with that in that the way that the party is at and how it's structured is that basically anyone can nominate, and it's almost like a guarantee that whoever's going to nominate is going to be selected, and then
Which
that
is
leads to an interesting situation where you end up with a group of people who don't necessarily agree with each other, and if it's just going to be a whole bunch of random people put together and there's going to be conflict because there's a fundamental disagreement in the direction, then nothing's going to be done. But if things are going to be allowed to be done, then it's worth doing.
yes.
If you catch my drift.
I can agree with you there, Simon. I can definitely agree with you there. It's always just been a case of we've been trying to have everyone people. It's just how many. I think we do have to look at more getting people willing to put their names up, and by knowing that out, and that's probably why it's in there. But we'll see. But I'm happy to work with you on.
Yeah, because like my main concern is that there might be other people who are on there who don't agree with my vision and would stop me from trying to reboot the party. So
I can understand, but
I don't want to sign up for a year of conflict. If we're going to do this, like I think we need to make a more of a group decision. What direction do we want to do, and be all aligned to the same goals.
I can
So if
understand.
it's aligned to the goals that we want to do a reboot, I'm happy to step up. If there's others who disagree and think that winding down is better, then so be it. But I think there needs to be a cohesive goal of what needs to be done rather than setting up for a to and fro of competing ideas.
I wouldn't be surprised if technically everyone agrees with you in this idea, but we'll continue on.
I'd be, I mean, I'm re-nominating in the caretaker role, so I'd put in tacit approval for anything that people want to do, and I've had an unofficial sort of policy for a couple of years now that to sort of support and encourage anything vaguely aligned to pirate politics that people want to do that here in Australia. So I wouldn't conflict with that. I'm not for or against winding down the party. Just wanting to take a caretaker role. So if we did make a collective decision to wind down, or whatever that looks like, and I think it probably would have to be a general Congress decision, even to disincorporate or go through any other structural changes. And that would have to be a party-wide decision. I'm not sure which way I'd vote. I might even abstain from that. But if, I'm always. I was muted. Did anyone hear any of that? Hello,
I heard
testing.
most of it, just the last second cut off.
Okay.
The last bit cut off.
Where did we get? Doesn't matter. I said what I wanted to say anyway.
So maybe before we get to nominations, maybe we can invite comments and from other pirates and within here. There's a few comments I'm reading in the Discord. So like, if anyone's tuned in on YouTube, maybe join Discord as well, and maybe we need to have a bit of an overall discussion of what we want to do with the party before we decide who is going to be doing it.
But does anyone have any suggestions or comments on this?
Well, I'll sort of say something. I don't know if we have a sort of a speaking thing where you have to be recognised by the chair or whatever, but I guess I have sort of said some things in comments that I would still like to see, this group being pirates still having a presence within Fusion, and perhaps sort of try to influence the broader policy of Fusion. Having said that, for all the conflict we've had in pirates, I think we haven't had formalized factions. I think the only two factions I've really noticed is free speech purists and free speech moderates. Okay, and even me being a free speech moderate can see where the purists are coming from. So that's that. We've not really had factions in a grander sense, and I wouldn't want to have a faction within Fusion that's pushing. I'd be someone who's reaching out and saying, hey, maybe you should do this. So then I've also said, okay, Simon, I've forgotten some of your plan now. I think the thing that I rejected, it was just turning into a lobby group and turning our backs on the political involvement. And that was what I guess I had issues with. But to the extent that your vision involves allowing political participation under the Fusion umbrella, I think that would be a good thing, because maybe you'll have energy to take publicly. Also, I think I'll be frank and say, look, people have had concerns about you going into things like a bull in a china shop, and I think that has been a concern in the past. Look, we all make mistakes. I guess it's a matter of the degree of those mistakes and how we relate to them. But notice I'm sort of thinking that you have a certain amount of energy, and I think perhaps more energy than the rest of us have at this point in time. So maybe with proper negotiation, we could give you a lot more of the reins. That I see that as a possibility. But equally, yes, I mean, I guess you're on the spot, but maybe there's a chance for you to tell us about your plans, for us to understand them and perhaps support them on that basis. I think we've all changed a bit since a year ago, and we're able to relate to things slightly differently, I would suggest. So I think that was what Miles is saying. I think depending on the path we take. Now, the thing is, I don't think this has been that well promoted to the general membership. We should have emailed them. We should have done this. We should have done that. And I want to be careful because, we're all lacking energy and I don't want to judge others. But certainly, if we try to take the pirates in a meaningful new direction, we need to communicate that to members and hopefully get their support. And if all they do is chuck some money in our direction once a year and leave us to us, well, I think we accept that and make our own choices and move ahead in our own way. But we should at least give the general membership the opportunity to participate. So that's some of my thoughts there. Goodness me, what's his name? The gentleman round the hills in Sydney. Gosh, what's happened? I can't remember his name, but I would have thought he might. Andrew Downing. Yeah, I would have thought he might have stuck his oar in at this annual general meeting, but it's possible that we didn't promote it sufficiently well to the general membership. It's also possible he's got shit on, is interstate or is ill. That does happen with Andrew. But anyway, look, I'll shut up now. I've said a few things, and I hope I'm moving things forward anyway. So I'll shut up now for the present. Oh, the other thing I'll mention is I wasn't able to talk when Alex, and I left it to Alex because I was making up some coffee while he was talking. Anyway, there.
Yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, so yeah, in agreement with that, broadly, or some parts of it. Yeah, not much else to add, I guess. I think I'm always I had a friend who called himself a Democratic extremist a while ago, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a direct Democrat, but I wouldn't call myself an extremist. But generally, I'm in favor of participatory and decentralized organizing. And so people who want to do stuff, I want to support that, as long as it's not sort of in conflict with what I think the party sort of stands for or wants to go towards and move towards. So we do have scope within National Congress to talk about the party direction and strategy. Based on the agenda, traditionally that would happen after the nominations. I think the way to sort of structure that would be, so Simon, you're welcome to run for president. If you are on that platform of revitalizing the party, if you do, I think I would leave my nomination in just so it is a democratic decision, given that my platform is caretaker mode, but still to support people to organize and run campaigns and do advocacy and write policy and so on and so forth. Yeah, I think that's.
Would it be possible to take a break so that I can prepare a nomination and perhaps have some private conversations before deciding to do that or not?
So we do. So based on the agenda, we've still got another 2 hours actually, because we've the next item is lunch, but that's not scheduled for another hour. So I think, is that enough time for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah. So lunch scheduled for 12. Nominations and speeches scheduled at 1 p.m. Based on the new standing orders. Then nominations are open until the start of that. But then we can also make a vote to allow nominations from the floor as well. If there's no more discussion here and we wind down, then I am also happy to go for I would propose an extended lunch break. So if we close the morning session shortly, say in the next 15 minutes, and then still resume at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's also an option. Does anyone else have any thoughts or comments?
Well, I'm sort of thinking that we have a situation where, I mean, depending on how things go, we all want to have people getting along reasonably harmoniously. But whether we have Miles as president or deputy president, or Simon as president or deputy president, you know, I think I'm sort of comfortable with both those outcomes. What I would like to think is that we all share each other's vision and at least give each other a nod as far as directions we want to take things in. Then at least try to get along as best we can, those that are here anyway. And as I say, the issue is that we don't have the general membership sticking their oar in, and you know, Andrew Downing and so on, and a few others that who knows might well have turned up if they've been properly communicated with. But I think the idea that we have a bit of time out for, I guess, Simon and Miles and so on to think about, you know, what their plans are and how they're going to relate to things and put forward, you know, that may be a good idea, and just sort of shuffle the agenda around somewhat. But look, I'll back out
Maybe I
for the
should
moment.
take a few minutes to sort of rehash the vision that I had last year before, as a refresher for everyone's benefit. Would that be helpful?
Well, if you can speak off the cuff with just this amount of prompting, I'd be happy to allocate, say, 5 minutes for you to re-outline your vision, and maybe people would discuss it with you and figure out the details, and you know, who knows, there may be some negotiation here, and maybe we'll all agree. We'll see. Miles and Alex and Bryn, are you sort of happy with that? I mean, I think it's mostly Miles is the person who's notionally chairing. We could move a motion supporting Now, Simon speaking,
Yeah.
or Miles, you could just, to your
John,
discretion as chair, sort of go for it. I don't know.
yeah, I'm well aware of that. Yeah, like I'm fine for that to happen. If you take 5 minutes, Simon.
All right,
Sure.
Simon, I think the consensus is if you are able to spend 5 minutes articulating your plan and reminding us of it and letting us relate to it another time, please do so.
Okay, great. I'll try to stretch it out to 5 minutes, but I don't think it'll take that long. But
Oh, if it's
basically,
2 or 3 minutes, I think we're fine, okay?
yeah, look, basically, we for a long time we're basically in a position where we're basically pretending to be a political party because we're not registered anywhere and don't have any prospects of doing so. So, or we haven't been for a long time, and I think where our core strength is being on top of the issues, particularly relating to technology and digital rights. And I think we need to just double down on our competencies in being experts in that. Obviously, we've fallen behind from where we were, where we've had hundreds of active members to now just a few. So there would need to be a component of reactivating people to become interested in participating in the pirates. So all I'm really suggesting is that if we just focus on the issues itself and use those issues to gain momentum and build up activity within the party to the point that we would be able to have a more functional national council because there's more active members coming in to be able to fill those roles and just build up again as if we were a new movement a new exciting movement about digital rights, except we've got a legacy that we hold on to, and we will always be pirates. I have no desire to drop a pirate identity, and just in the way that I guess suppose that I conduct myself. It's just more about being collaborative rather than jumping in and trying to do things myself. John, you made a comment about bull in a china shop, and like I'll talk to you offline, but I'm not sure what that's in reference to. I tried to include everyone, and that's I guess my hesitancy here is that I don't want to be a bull in a china shop jumping into something where others don't want it. I want to do something that's agreeable, and that's not just on this instance, but on an ongoing basis too. That I'll always be in collaboration with others in the party as the journey of the revitalization or the reboot goes on. That every step of the way that it's in line with what other people in the party and what the membership wants. Not just what I think people want. Like it's not about me. It's about everyone. To me, this is just a community service, I suppose, to try saving something that I think is important.
Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, Simon. Okay, does anyone have any more comments, questions, or suggestions on this topic? Just gonna wait for Alex to type out his comment in chat.
Does anyone have any questions about what I said? And also, I think John mentioned his concern about not being political, and like definitely we continue to be political as a political advocacy, even if we're not a registered party. That's definitely a core part of it, and we'll continue to be part of Fusion. But the door's also open to collaborate with others to push for change, no matter where it is, whether it's a political party or even in a non-political space as well. You don't have to be in politics to change the world.
All right. Well, Simon, I guess I'm reassured by what you're saying. Now, on the one hand, I was sort of talking about my own campaign and how I was drained at the end of it, and perhaps if things had been structured differently, I would have found it a less stressful experience. But I guess yes, I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but I would say at least within the seat of Bennelong, I do get a decent amount of coverage in the local papers and. I guess a decent number of votes haven't hit 4% or whatever, but I think the only people who got close to 4% had a real local presence, and they were sort of blow-ins to the fusion and sort of pirate party setup. So, I guess if I do put myself forward, maybe I will, but I guess, look, I'm blowing my own trumpet and saying, I do believe that at least within the seat of Bennelong, putting forward these ideas, I think I have made a bit of a difference. And, I guess it is possible for that to happen, I guess is one of the things that I'll say. And there's this, I guess Miles has sort of touched on it. We've got this compromise between granting people autonomy and giving them oversight and so on. And I know I've sort of managed to play in my own sandpit and people have left me to it, and that's been quite nice. The only thing was preference deals and so on at the last election, which really caused some difficulties. Apart from that, I have been given freedom to run my own campaigns and do my own thing. And I suppose all I would say is if people do want to run off and do something, I suppose we want to be sure that there's maybe a little bit of oversight, but also some freedom for that to happen. Because if a group says, oh, we've only got so many resources and you can't do that because that would be a drain on the resources, I think it would be very sad if people were limited in that way. I don't think it's really happened in the Pirates. Who knows, maybe a little bit in Fusion. But yeah, I certainly don't want to see that sort of thing happening. But apart from that, you seem to have the right approach, I suppose. So I guess I'm rather more comfortable, I suppose, unless anybody else wants to say something.
All right, Alex has given us a reminder that we need to have a motion to accept the standing reports as well as appoint a returning officer before we break for lunch. So I'm going to propose I'm going to do that. So I'm going to make a motion to accept the reports from the outgoing National Council first. Okay, place your votes in chat. Do we, just while that vote is going as well, I just want to call out, do we have any volunteers, suggestions or nominations for a returning officer? So the role of the returning officer is just to oversee the election of the electable positions, which is the incoming National Council for the next 12 months, as well as the Dispute Resolution Committee. How many, can someone check for me how many DRC positions are open for nomination? Is it 3 or 5? It's all 5, isn't it?
You mean, isn't it? I thought it was 2.
Oh no,
2,
it's
1.
3. No, based on the nominations, there's 3. Oh, okay. We do stagger it 2-1. All right, I had the wrong idea there.
The 5 or whatever was for Fusion.
Right.
And that was meant to be because, at least in my opinion, the 3 seats, the Pirates actually meant to be 3/3, but never exactly happened that way. But it was always meant to be 3/3. me and Liam's retiring.
Many such cases.
So I'd probably say that if Liam was available, I'd ask him to do it for just one final time. Or potentially splitting it. Which probably would be someone does me, and I'll do the NC and the actual votes.
Okay, I declare that motion passed. Do we have? Maybe we could wait until. Maybe we could adjourn now and then adjourn for lunch, and then go and get some volunteers over lunch to be RO, because we should be able to find someone pretty straightforwardly.
Should be. But if
Does that sound good,
nothing
Alex?
else, there is Alex's proposal of splitting one to get me appointed, or the DRC, mostly me. Sorry, I shouldn't use that in a greedy way.
Well, you are the only nominee.
Yeah, and then we'll look at someone do the rest. But we'll see if we can get someone that's neither of us.
That'd be ideal, yeah. Okay.
There are a few people that are on, so we could start asking.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. That
Alyssa?
over lunch
Pardis?
we go and
Monkey,
go on, hunt it down.
put your names out.
Yes. Okay. Well, if there's no objections, I will propose we break for an extended lunch, which will be about 95 minutes. So we'll return. So we're breaking for lunch early, but we'll return at the scheduled time of 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, I think, or standard. I think they're both the same at the moment.
Standard.
So 1 p.m. Yep, standard. Thank you. 1 p.m. I'll put a motion in chat. As per tradition, we will vote over whether we're going to go for lunch. All in accordance with the prophecy.
I suppose I could always ask Drew if nothing else.
Yeah, I can Drew. Oh, does it have to be a part? It doesn't. Does it have to be a party member?
Drew is a supporter member by virtue of being in Fusion.
Right, but if anything, it'll be a full member, surely. I don't think it has to be a party member. Oh, I haven't read the Constitution for at least 11 minutes. Oh yeah, all votes arising from National Congress, etc., should be overseen by an RO who is neither candidate, current or outgoing member, so they don't have to be a party member. That's fine. Okay, I'll give that vote a little bit longer. Okay, I'll stop voting there. That motion passes. I'll see you guys back after lunch. And Mandrake, let's go to splash screen.
Yep,
Yes.
just quickly putting in a message on there.
See you guys later.
returning. Go.
Hello.
Oh,
we're
oops.
from lunch. Oops. What is
And not.
it?
And now.
Okay, we're returning back from lunch. Maybe we're live now. Let's have a look. Yep, looks like we're live. Okay.
It was just the more my.
Let me do a quick audio check. Yep, okay, I can hear myself on the stream. Cool. All right. Can I get a voice check from everyone in the Jitsi?
Alex is
Okay.
here.
Hello. Hello, Alex. John, Simon, are you here? John, are you back with us, or are you still on lunch? So we're waiting for John's not back with us yet, and he's one of the nominees. We haven't formally resumed, but the stream is still live. So there's time still for anyone who wants to put in a nomination for any of the open positions. So up for election, we have the President, Secretary, Treasurer, as well as deputies for those 3 roles, 3 council positions, and 2 dispute resolution committee positions. So we should probably wait until John returns. But we also can't start the nomination section until we have the registered officer online and appointed. So, Alex, have you had a chance to talk to Drew yet?
I haven't.
But I messaged Drew beginning of
Okay.
month. He's, as I said, he said yes with a question mark, providing uncertainty that if he should be doing it. But I forwarded him the link, so he should.
Well, with consent of the meeting and all the candidates, I think that would be
Enough.
adequate.
Yeah, I'm happy for him to do it.
Cool.
So if we can just get him on the Zoom. As he Hello, John. Welcome back. So we can get Drew onto the Zoom, onto the Jitsi, I mean.
Drew has been sent the link.
Great. Welcome back, John. Heard you briefly there, John.
Okay, can you hear? Look, okay, I've even got some feedback here. Seems like my mic is now working. That's good.
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you now. We're here. We're just waiting for Drew to come on. I mean, this is the advertised time, so it makes sense to me that, yeah, we'd keep this up, keep it open. We're joined by Drew. Let's get an audio check there.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Can you say something a bit longer, Drew, just to check that audio?
I can speak in whatever manner you would like for whatever length of time you think is appropriate.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Thanks. Just so, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you came through all right. Has Alex or Bryn talked to you about what's What you need to do?
Only in basic terms.
Okay. Well, the immediate thing for today is just to take over chair during the nomination speeches section.
Right.
And then any uncontested positions declare as elected, unless you think they're unconstitutional for whatever reason. That's the gist of it. And then are we going to ask Drew to oversee the e-voting process as well?
Yes, there will be coaching for that.
Okay. Drew, are you up for that part as well?
Yeah.
We can if we elect a DRC member unopposed, if we end up electing a DRC member today, then they can take the electronic part if we need to. So that's fine.
Is there an agenda?
Yes, I will. And so. Okay.
Okay, so Drew, do you have any questions, or are you ready to, or you feel confident with what we're asking you to do?
Just having a look at what's going through and skimming the relevant part of the Constitution.
Excellent.
I noticed there's no nominee for secretary.
Ain't that always the way?
Yes, if elected deputy, then I will. We'll call me acting secretary or something. The important thing is that there is a secretariat, and that continues.
You can start a secretariat department. Should we maybe we go for a recess until you feel confident, Drew?
I could probably do things. Are we expecting anyone else to show up at this point? I noticed that obviously this has been on break for lunch.
No.
I see.
We haven't formally resumed yet, but we have unofficially come back from lunch.
Yeah.
We're on,
all
we're on
right.
stream.
So is this because I have obviously not been here this morning, have positions been sort of declared open? Is that
No, that's the role of the RO.
right? Okay.
But once the chair moves to once the chair starts that agenda item, they hand over to the RO as new chair.
Right.
Then the RO declares all positions vacant.
And do you do nominee speeches all at once or in sequential order with the voting for a role?
It's up to the chair of that agenda item, but generally we just do them in order. Sometimes we do the uncontested ones first, just for formality's sake. Get the straightforward procedural stuff out of the way before we get to contested positions.
By my reading of the nomination page, there are currently no contested positions.
I believe so. Yep.
Right. Yeah. Okie dokie then.
So if you if you feel confident, we can I can formally bring us back from lunch. Start the agenda item, hand over chair.
Yeah, all right. As long as you don't mind me pausing to ask clarifying questions occasionally, I'm happy to go forward.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so at 1:19 p.m. I'm gonna declare it reopen. National Congress 2026 afternoon session. The agenda items for this is there's 3 for this afternoon session. There's the nominations and nominee speeches for electable positions, location of the next Congress, and then discussion topics. So let's go straight into the nominations. So I'll hand over chair to the returning officer, Drew Wolfendale. In a moment, we'll then take over, but we will, we'll hear the speeches and finalise the nominations for the next 12 months, National Council and DRC. Okay, Drew, all yours.
All right. Now there aren't any nominations that are allowed other than the ones that have been pre-nominated.
Yes. So nominations close as soon as this agenda item starts. We can have a vote to amend the standing orders to allow nominations, last-minute nominations.
No, thank you for clarifying. All right. Well, in that case, the first position for the National Council is the president position. Miles, would you like to give a speech as nominee? You are muted.
Yeah, I'll rehash what I said in the outgoing report this morning, which is that I've switched over to caretaker mode, nominate on that basis. So I'm mostly interested in representing the party internationally and being a voice for that, and putting out some advocacy and communications around that. I've done this for a while, and I'm pretty confident with biopolitics and the history of the movement, and for better or worse, a vaguely positive representation for the party in some direction. So being elected as president for the next 12 months would be on a caretaker basis. I don't expect to put significant time into this, but I am traveling and will do what I can to represent the party positively. Also, yeah, one other thing, I want to also support people who do want to actually organise or do things. And so I don't want that to be a blocker for anyone who wants to campaign or run for election or the like. Okay, that's all from me. Drew, you're muted.
Thank you for that. Simon, you've raised your hand.
Can the candidate for the position take questions?
Yeah, I'm happy to take questions.
You have the floor, Simon.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if Drew was here before lunch, but I was considering running for the president position as well. Based on Miles' statement that he's considering deregistering the party or was it winding down the party, being caretaker and wanting to give space for others to step in. But over lunch I had some conversations with him, and it seemed, and my question is, how come you make these statements that you want to make space for others to step up, but at the same time you contest that if I was to run for president? It seems like it's not really matching up to what you publicly say in action.
Yeah, so the democratic process means that the election to this position comes with a mandate, and the mandate is what the candidates say they'll do, and then represents the overall direction to the party. So I'm being pretty open that this is caretaker mode for the party, with sort of scaling things down. And so, you know, if you want to take the party in a different direction, then you should be willing to do that. And I think ultimately, I want to leave that, have an element open there to the judgment of everyone else in the party as well, the voting members, to decide if that's worthwhile, which way they would want to go. And if you genuinely believe that your vision for the party is a better option than being a caretaker, then you should be willing to have that tested.
Thanks, Miles. And I do acknowledge your contribution to the party over many years. And you have previously brought the Pirate Party from the brink of extinction by orchestrating the Alliance of Fusion, which was great. And you're always someone that I've highly respected in the way that you've done things during that era, particularly. As far as where things are at the moment, this is you know, I made over lunch. I made a proposal to you that I wouldn't unilaterally make any changes. That it would be a period of consultation to the wider member base. I don't think that having a vote between two presidents is the way to effect change. You've been president for many years and done great work in the past. So there is a incumbency bias in any voting, and that was reflected last year when we had to redo the votes because the votes weren't done on time, and I lost that vote, and I'm not sure if it's because of a disagreement with vision or because people just vote based on your name recognition. So I don't think that's a contest between two people is the way to make a decision about the future of a party. I think that needs to go to a member-wide vote in its own right, voting on the issue itself, not on voting on personalities. And based on that you oppose me particularly, even though you say you're open. I don't think that we can really work together So unfortunately, it's been a great ride with the Pirates, but it's really sad that it's come to this. But it looks like winding up is the direction it will go, because the space isn't being open to allow for transformation and change in line with what the members of the party want by voting.
I'm not running on a platform of winding up the party. I'm running on a platform of caretaker mode, and will support a wind up if there's a motion, if anyone wants to do that. Alex has spoken about winding down some operations. That's fine. I'll support that, but I won't advocate for it. And the whole point of this election is that it's about people to fill roles. And so if you want to remove like that incumbency bias, because you have to remember that there's not just positive known reputation working in my favor, potentially there's also negative reputation working against you as well. And the only way to remove
negative
both of those-
reputation, which is your defamation, actually, because
no, it's a
you,
hypothetical.
you've
It
made
doesn't- it may or may
there's
not
been
exist.
decisions made which you agreed with at the time, but because some social media trolls didn't like it and hurt your ego, you turn around and blame me for when I didn't do anything improprietary to it. It was a decision that was agreed to by yourself and many others. This isn't on me.
Okay, now to finish what I was saying, if you want to make this about issues and not about people, then you should have a motion to go out to the membership, a formal motion, rather than making it contingent on an election. You don't need an elected role. You don't need to be president to have a formal motion to go out to everyone. That is the way to do it if you want to avoid or minimize the impact.
You're going to oppose me at every stage, so
I've explicitly said I won't.
I think I just let it go. You know, this is not. Unfortunately, it's been a good ride. I thank you for your efforts. I thank the party, but I don't see this going anywhere. To be honest, thank you.
All right. Well, that's your choice. Drew, any other questions?
Okay, it seems Simon has left us. In the case of an uncontested position, is there a vote that is performed, or is it a?
No, there's no vote.
All right,
you can just declare the position elected.
Unless the majority of people would like to raise a complaint, I will declare the position elected. All right, I will declare that position elected.
Which position is?
The president.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. On to the next position, which is secretary. I will invite Alex to speak on that one in a moment. And unfortunately, Simon has now left, which may have affected this, but I was going to communicate for the relevance of everyone that at the most recent Fusion SGM, there was a move to adopt a membership fee structure, which would see funding from Pirate aligned members flow back to the Pirate branch to support operations. This is in the process of being implemented as we get the technical side of things sorted. That may have implications for decisions to wind up or not wind up activities relevant going forward. The intention was to support branches like the Pirates from needing to wind up activities that they felt were valuable. Hopefully that context is relevant for some people. So moving on, Alex, would you like to speak to your nomination as Deputy Secretary, given the Secretary position has no nominees?
Sure. I think my camera's just coming online now. Yep, there we go. Or actually, hang on, which camera is it picked? There we go. Everyone, Alex here. I've nominated for Deputy Secretary mostly to signal that I would like to step back from the role at the conclusion of this term, and to provide, and to make space for others to step up. So, but also to indicate that there's a lot of stuff which is currently on my shoulders administratively and technically in terms of all the party IT infrastructure and all that, and that I don't have any intention of going anywhere. I just like to make space for others. In terms of where I'm thinking about taking things, my thinking is that we should cease to become an incorporated association and remain as an unincorporated association effectively. This opens up some space for a more flexible and effectively become less of a standalone association, more of an interest group within Fusion. So I guess that's sort of in terms of directions in which the party could go, that's kind of opposite, I think, to where Simon wants to take it. Not that I'm opposed to Simon's vision, but it's a different direction. So yeah, that's sort of what I would be looking to do. It comes from a perspective that we are no longer doing much in our own right, and we no longer need this. There are certain structures which we don't really need to have anymore, because they're in service of things that we no longer do. So that's why I'm running and what I'm interested in doing in the coming year.
All right, thank you, Alex. In the absence of any other nominees, I would like to now declare the Deputy Secretary position to be elected.
Thank you,
Alex. Thank you. The next one in the order is the Treasurer, John August. I believe the previous point I mentioned may be particularly relevant to the Treasurer's position, and I invite you now to speak on your nomination.
Okay, well, thank you, Drew. Yes, I've been Treasurer for a few years now. Originally, Mark Gibbons was the Treasurer, and I suppose I was very impressed with his contribution to the party, but he wanted to take a bit of a break. So I took over the position of Treasurer, and effectively, I guess it's myself and Alex, with me prompting Alex when money needs to be moved around, because he's the co-signatory. And I guess, yes, if I'd been a bit more organised, I might have actually prepared a Treasurer's report. But I guess I'm willing to stay in the role and sort of, I guess, keep the lights on, as it were. And, that's how I'm currently contributing to the Pirate Party. Though, I guess I'm doing a bit of self-promotion, but I do have a community radio show. And, I guess I've been collaborating with Owen over things to do with the NAC and government transparency and so on. So I'm continuing to pursue pirate-related issues, in other avenues as well, and potentially standing for election, though I have mixed feelings about doing that. Anyway, but certainly it's in that context that I plan to continue as Treasurer, and certainly if we do wind up or change our structure significantly, it may well be that all the finances are moved off to Fusion and we just have a a secretary within the Pirate Party, which I guess accesses the funds in Fusion rather than having a separate treasurer here, which means we might well simplify and streamline things. So I'm comfortable with whatever direction we head in. I hope that in some way, shape, or form, pirate issues continue to be pursued actively within Australia. That's the only thing I would hope for. But I'll leave my election statement at that, I suppose.
Thank you very much, John. Once again, in the absence of a contested nomination, I would now like to declare the treasurer position elected with John August. There are no other council positions with nominations, and the remaining election is for the Dispute Resolution Committee. Now, is that continue in the same manner? Yep. All right then. In that case, Bryn, can I ask you to speak to your nomination to the DRC?
Yep, that would be fine. To begin with, I should acknowledge and thank Dr. Liam Pomfret on all of his long service to the party, being for all these years, for his advice and his wisdom in for the party and everything else. Sorry, I'm not good at speeches. Sorry, but thanking Dr. Liam first. Anyway, now to myself. I understand it being a continuing role, but I would like to be the voice of reason, the voice that will hope with the direction of Fusion and of the party in whichever form it takes, as it is. I believe that's all I can really say at this point in time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bryn. And on that note, I would like to declare the position elected with Bryn as a member of the Dispute Resolution Committee. On that note, I do believe I hand the chair of this over back to the president to take over for the remainder of the National Congress. Take it away, Miles. Thank you.
Thanks, and thanks everyone for sticking around. So the last two agenda items for this afternoon is, and thank you, Drew, for running that. The last two agenda items are to decide the location of the next annual Congress and then decide on general strategy and party direction. If there's no objections, I'd suggest we have it online again next year. Yeah. It'd be nice to run an in-person event, maybe to overlap with a Fusion general meeting or a larger Fusion event. That'd be cool. Some meetups, but online is at least we know it works. Might do a motion for that, just for formality's sake, unless anyone has any other suggestions.
I don't think we should mention ID Crisis's message, which I think is probably spam.
It's not spam, but it is off topic. Sorry, mate.
Well, it's up to me as chair anyway. You didn't have to comment. You don't have to comment. All right. The motion is open to hold Congress next year online. Put your votes in chat, please. I'll leave that for a moment to tick through. Okay. Declare that one passed. So for the final agenda item, I'd like to open the floor to hear anyone who has any suggestions or ideas about what we can do or what we could or should do for the next 12 months. Go ahead, Drew.
So I am obviously not a full pirate member, but one of the things that I have been hoping that various fusion branches would be able to be in a position to do is to have each of them an ongoing project that engages with the community that they can run or at least participate in as part of maintaining the community and the value of the group for what they set out to do. I know previously pirates have run like digital safety courses or other things in that sort of vein. Given the hopefully soon to become available increase in available funding to help do things, I would like to encourage the pirates to consider what sort of ongoing project they might be able to do and engage people with.
Yep. I know I can definitely look at John's got the radio, which if you need someone to throw ideas against, that could also be interesting. I still got my old crypto party details that I can update, bring to the current thing, and explain to help set up, especially potentially even help with setting up tools that are not so much like with the current changes with Android's security model. By that I mean, it's for those that if you're in a normal position, wouldn't hurt you. But if you need something that, well, if someone's out to get you, alphabet is, well, alphabet. And let's just say, there's a reason why they don't use the "Don't be evil" tagline or motto for modern case. And yes, I know, personally, hypocrite Android user. Samsung Android user. Anyway, I know. I was joking. But I know I've got that. And I mean,
Okay,
I'm willing to help.
Brendan, can I jump in? Yeah,
Sorry.
I want to open up and see if there's any more suggestions or ideas for what we should do. So thanks for that, Drew. Nice to know. So if you have a project that needs a bit of funding, then yeah, by all means. So examples of something that could spend on for is for venue hire or for access to a compute budget or server hosting costs, technology license, potentially anything like that.
Well, anyway, I might throw in a few things now. Yes, I have been doing a few things which are to some degree my own projects, which are, the community radio project and turning up to Speaker's Corner in Sydney. And occasionally I do get, goodness me, the gentleman from the hills reminded me, Miles, that's anyway, yes, gentleman from the hills who has sometimes come out of the woodwork. Now,
Andrew.
Andrew, yes, that's right. Andrew has sometimes come out of the woodwork, and also we do have the Pirate Friday Zoom or Jitsi or whatever meetings. And I mean, I suppose in a sense, there's a lot of things that I say that I should do or would like to do. Um, to some degree, I'm a bit distracted by the fact that we're supposed to be rationalising our internet profile and the number of servers we have, which I have been talking to Alex a bit about, but we haven't gone forward on that as much as perhaps we should have. But yeah, I guess I've been distracted with lots of things. Uh, but yes, those are two things. But a major thing that I think is possible within Pirate Party Sydney, we do have a group that involves Peter Zing, who's part of the AI people, the transhumanists, whatever, and basically their group has a certain amount of momentum. And if we were to collaborate with them on a joint event and they were actually comfortable with that, then we could put a Pirate Party shingle on it and get, I guess, a bit of energy there. Now, I will say that I have my own views on the impact of artificial intelligence in that its impact on the economy is going to be way overstated, and things that we have like employment, economic growth, productivity, all those things have got a lot of inertia about it. And AI is not going to be a magic wand that solves all our problems and brings us into the age of prosperity. But I'm not, hopefully, not trying to lecture people or ram stuff down their throats. But what I am trying to get at is, if I take that point of view and give a public talk at the AI forum, and then we try to promote it within the Pirate Party, then maybe that can get a bit of energy around these issues. Another thing that I've been collaborating with Owen on is talking about transparency, NAC, and so on. I cover that a bit on my community radio show. But yes, maybe a public event related to that, or I sort of give a talk on that at Speaker's Corner and we try to give it a bit of promotion. Those are some things that we can certainly do. But surveillance capitalism, the impact of AI. I mean, I'm less concerned about, I guess, AI risk. I know other people sort of get more worked up about it than I do. But yes, we've got several risks: climate change, meteor impact, Carrington events, and I guess AI going crazy. Also, the world going to war and things like that. So we can actually make a list if we're keen. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. But look, there are a few things that could be done. I mean, I have to get motivated and put the energy in. But I'll also do a bit of self promotion and say that I did give a talk on economics on my YouTube channel on on YouTube, obviously. So I gave it quite a comprehensive economics talk, which was pirate informed. And I can certainly develop that and take it to the AI group. And what else? Oh, yes, there's also, chatbots and the fact that Richard Dawkins has fallen in love with his chatbot and this sort of thing. And I've actually commented on that on my radio show. So I am trying to develop these things. So, well, Bryn, let's just say, look, I'm sure that if you listen to a few of my shows, and I'll put a link on the chat here and also, I guess, in Discord, and we can certainly have you phone in for 5 or 10 minutes on a future show and just generally discuss technology, artificial intelligence, and so on. So we can certainly have a bit of cross fertilization there. But look, I'll leave it at that, but I'll start chucking some links into Discord and here. So,
Okay. I'm just passing. Drew is saying that the idea. Okay. Plus, okay, I can see Drew is, and I think I can see Simon's idea. Anyway, I'll just say Drew's idea is mentioning crypto. And Simon just saying to making the note. It's about continuing about the ideas of the visions.
Okay, let's
Anyway, but we'll
Bryn,
leave that for
let
now.
me jump in here. Let's move to bring this to a close. So the motion passed earlier to hold Congress online next year. So that'll go ahead. If there's no one else who wants to bring up any suggestions or ideas, I'd like to I'm going to suggest we move to close the Congress for this year. John, do you want to put that YouTube link in Discord chat so everyone can see it?
Yes,
most people
okay,
won't see
I
it.
will do that. Anyway,
Thanks.
Now, let me say, I suppose, look, in some ways I have mixed feelings about both Simon and Miles, but at the same time as I have mixed feelings, I don't think it's for any one person to say the party should do X, Y, Z. We need to reach out to our memberships and say, I'd like to do blah, blah, blah. I hope people will support me. And, you know, that's more my generalized sentiment. And I would also say I actually endorse the pirate principle of decentralization. If we enable a lot of people running out to the horizon and doing good things, you know, then that's a wonderful thing. Now, yes, we have to have some sort of oversight and control, because traditionally people in like the One Nation Party and other places seem to, the wheels fall off their cart and they veer off into the bushes. Yes, we have to be careful of that. But in broad terms, I'm not sure we necessarily need strong central leadership. So anyway, so look, I'd love for Miles and Simon to get along better and both contribute, but for the moment, I don't have energy to put into trying to resolve that dispute.
Thanks, John. Alex asked me to mute my mechanical keyboard. I utterly and categorically refuse. I'm going to keep typing with my mic on while other people are talking.
Well done.
Okay, I'm going to put a motion to close the meeting. Okay, motion is in chat. Put your votes. Thank you for the vote of support. I love it when my motions pass.
All right. Have fun, y'all.
Thanks, Drew. See you later.
Bye.
Okay, I'll declare the vote there. And thank you very much, everyone. And I'll see you all later.